Welcome to Mr. English Daily.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. English Daily, your favorite place to relax, listen, and level up your English through real, natural conversations. I'm Luna.
And I'm Leo. And today we are talking about something that millions of people around the world cannot imagine their morning without.
Coffee.
Coffee. Warm, reliable, and honestly, more powerful than most alarm clocks.
That is so true. Some people wake up looking alive, but nothing inside has actually turned on yet.
The body is present, the face is there, but the brain, still loading.
Still loading, yes. And I think that is exactly why coffee feels like more than just a drink.
Right, because when people say they love coffee, they're not only talking about the taste.
They're talking about the feeling around it, the moment, the pause, the comfort.
That is what makes it a ritual, not just a habit.
A ritual, something you return to every day in a very personal way. The same mug, the same corner of the kitchen, the same quiet moment before the day really begins.
And some people do not realize how attached they are until they skip it one morning.
And then suddenly, the whole day feels wrong.
Not wrong, spiritually broken.
Leo?
I stand by that.
Okay, fair. But seriously, there's something deeply comforting about coffee. Not exciting, just soft, familiar.
Familiar is the perfect word. That feeling when something is so well known to you that it starts to feel safe, trusted, almost like a part of who you are.
And when life feels rushed or messy, one familiar little thing can calm you down more than people expect.
Absolutely. And the routine around it matters just as much as the drink itself.
The whole process, boiling the water, hearing the machine, that first smell rising from the mug before the first sip.
Even just describing it is calming.
Because it is soothing, not dramatic happiness, just your whole system settling down a little.
Tiny moments that tell your body, relax, you have 1 second.
And then the first sip comes, and for just a moment, everything slows down.
That pause might matter even more than the coffee itself.
I think so too. And coffee is not only a morning thing. Sometimes it shows up right in the middle of a hard afternoon.
Those cups feel different.
They really do. Some coffee is just coffee, but some coffee arrives when you are tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally flat, and it becomes a little pick-me-up.
A small lift. Not my life changed, just, okay, I can continue.
Enough to finish the task, enough to answer the email, enough to stop feeling annoyed at everyone for no clear reason.
Or for many reasons.
Also valid. I once skipped coffee because I was running late, and by mid-morning, the light felt too bright, the room too warm, and someone nearby was being far too cheerful.
Too cheerful is genuinely offensive before caffeine.
It was. And that's when I realized coffee quietly protects the people around us.
It really does a lot for society.
It does. And the funny part, people still say, I just like coffee, like it's casual, like they aren't emotionally attached to a bean.
Wow, that's direct.
But am I wrong?
No.
And have you ever tried to cut back on coffee?
Beautiful idea, very mature, completely unrealistic.
Day 1 feels fine. Day 2, you're standing in the kitchen staring at the coffee maker thinking, please, don't make me do this.
Because you're not just giving up caffeine, you're interrupting a routine, a comfort, a mood, a small part of your identity.
It sounds small, but it doesn't feel small.
And then there's the coffee shop side of all this, because coffee at home is one feeling, but coffee in a cafe is a completely different world.
A good coffee shop can feel like a tiny, safe world inside a noisy day. The music is low, cups are clinking, people are talking softly, someone is reading, someone is pretending to work.
Someone is absolutely having a life crisis next to a pastry.
Cafes hold all kinds of people, and sometimes the whole atmosphere just hits the spot.
When something hits the spot, it feels exactly right for that moment. Your mood says, yes, this is what I needed.
And sometimes it's not even the coffee. It's the window seat, the rain outside, the quiet noise, the feeling that nobody needs anything from you for 20 minutes.
A place where you can be tired, thoughtful, or a little lost, and nobody asks you to explain it.
You can sit there alone and still feel held by life somehow.
Alone but not isolated. That's a real feeling.
And I think this is where the real answer lives. People love coffee, yes, but what they really love is the feeling coffee gives them.
The warmth, the pause, the familiarity, the comfort, the small permission to stop.
And the memories. Coffee can feel very nostalgic.
One smell and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely.
Childhood mornings, parents in the kitchen, late night studying, a certain cafe, a certain person.
Memory with emotion still wrapped around it. Sentimental.
Exactly. And that's why coffee can feel bigger than coffee. It carries routine, emotion, memory, comfort, all in one simple cup.
Small on the outside, full of feeling on the inside.
Maybe it was never really about the drink.
Maybe it was always about the moment wrapped around it.
The ritual, the pause, the pick-me-up, the familiar smell, that first sip when life feels loud and for 1 second, everything settles.
Yes, that.
All right, let's slow down and take our word tour. These are the most useful words and phrases from today's conversation.
Ritual. A ritual is something you do regularly in a personal and meaningful way, not just out of habit, but because it gives shape and feeling to a moment. Making coffee every morning became a quiet ritual she looked forward to.
Comforting. If something is comforting, it makes you feel calmer, safer, or more at ease. The smell of coffee in the kitchen felt deeply comforting.
Sentimental. If something feels sentimental, it carries personal emotion or memory. It matters to you in a deep way. He kept the mug for sentimental reasons, even though it was chipped.
Familiarity. Familiarity is the feeling of knowing something so well that it feels trusted, safe, and comfortable. The familiarity of her morning routine helped her feel grounded.
Soothing. If something is soothing, it helps you feel calm, settled, or less stressed. The sound of the coffee machine was strangely soothing.
Nostalgic. Nostalgic describes that warm, emotional feeling when something reminds you of the past. The smell of coffee made him feel nostalgic for childhood mornings.
Dependence. Dependence means relying on something so much that you notice and feel its absence. His dependence on coffee became obvious the morning he skipped it.
Kick in, phrasal verb. When something kicks in, its effect begins to happen or become noticeable. The caffeine usually kicks in about 20 minutes later.
Cut back on, phrasal verb. To cut back on something means to reduce it, to have less of it than before. She decided to cut back on coffee in the evenings.
A pick-me-up. A pick-me-up is a small thing that lifts your mood or energy, a little boost when you need it. That afternoon coffee was exactly the pick-me-up I needed.
Hit the spot. If something hits the spot, it feels exactly right for that moment. Your mood says, yes, this is what I needed.
Those were some beautiful words today, because coffee is one of those small daily things that quietly carries so much feeling.
Comfort, routine, memory, mood, and sometimes just enough to get through the afternoon.
So, this week, notice your own little rituals, the familiar things that bring you calm or a moment to breathe.
And if coffee is one of those things, we completely understand.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who would absolutely agree that coffee is never just coffee.
And tell us in the comments, what does coffee mean to you? Comfort, energy, memory, or just your favorite excuse to sit quietly for a while?
All valid answers. Take care of yourselves this week and find a few small comforting moments wherever you can.
This is Leo.
And this is Luna from Mr. English Daily. See you in the next one.